Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we are chatting all about sacroiliac problems, frustrations, pain, and how we can use our yoga practice to navigate out of them. Welcome. If you're new here, my name is Nina Sachs. I am a yoga teacher and a yoga health coach. I've been teaching yoga for over 20 years, and I have learned many lessons on my journey as I go through the practice of yoga. So today we're chatting about sacroiliac joint problems, and this is a very big topic that is very close to my heart because for so much of my yoga career and so much of my yoga practice, I have had sacroiliac joint instability and I've had problems there. And it wasn't until I came across the lovely Donna Farhi, who's based out in New Zealand, and the work that she's done with regards to pelvic health. And so if you have any issues with your pelvis or anything like that, I would strongly recommend checking out a lot of her work. She has amazing courses and amazing training. But what happened on my side is that the other day I got a little bit overzealous and I was like, I'm going to do a nice strong yoga practice. Not that it was actually a strong yoga practice. I just thought I'm going to take myself into a nice deep twist. And it felt lovely when I was in this. I was like, I can breathe and I can feel like everything's squeezing in the abdominal region. And then the next day I was like, my lower back, my sacrum. Nina, you know better. You've done this a million times. Why did you do that? And so I just want to share with you, like, we're all human. We all make mistakes. This happens. It happens to us regularly. The trick is knowing what tools and skills you can use to get yourself back on track. And so I was politely reminded by the lovely Teresa, who commented, we were having a little chat on kind of like mobility and primal movements in one of the previous recordings. And she was chatting about like how she starts each of her classes in constructive rest. And this is one of Donna Farhi's signature postures. And I was like, you know what? Anyone who has any form of back problem or any problem with pelvic instability or lower back problems, I believe strongly that you should actually start the first at least 10 minutes of your yoga practice, come to class early and lie in constructive rest, because this simple practice is exceptionally beneficial. So that's what I did for the 2 days after that, is that 2-3 times a day, I'd get on my mat and get into constructive rest. And it's a very simple posture. So you're lying flat on your back. You're going to bend your knees so they're kind of like in a V shape. You've got your feet on the ground. So it's kind of like she always talks about, like, it feels as if it's cards stacking up again against one another. So you've got your thigh bones and your knee, and then you've got your lower leg and your feet. And so you are lying in that position, and she gives alternatives. So maybe you need to raise your buttocks a little with a folded blanket. Maybe you need a pillow under your head. She also gives a lovely practice where you strap yourself up, so you actually don't have to hold your knees there, but they are held there using the strap, and you keep everything, knees and feet, hip width apart, so they're tracking your hip bones. So often in yoga, I know we like to release and relax the knees against one another, and she's saying you're actually going to try and keep them parallel to each other. So your knees are touching, but you've got your right knee, and then you've got your left leg and left knee, and you're keeping those parallel to each other. And that's why it's quite nice to be strapped in, because you don't have to hold yourself there. The strap will keep you there. And what this does is, when you're in this position and your back is able to relax and your arms able to relax, and your head's able to relax, that your whole sacrum is able to soften and release. So again, you're doing deep breathing, you're settling into the parasympathetic nervous system. And then if there has been any discomfort or twisting in the sacrum, it allows you to release. And you can feel it as you breathe deeply. You can feel your whole sacrum just settling into place. And so you may have to do this a couple of times. And the idea is, ideally, you want to be able to hold the posture for minimum 10 minutes. And you can do it up to 15, 20 minutes at a time. So you can just put on, if you're doing this at home, you can put on some nice music or a podcast or something to listen to, and really allow yourself to gently settle into that space. So that is number one. So if you find that you have got this, like, you've done something, there's a problem with the SI joint, go into constructive rest. Do that for a day or two until you feel that things are sorted. And when things are sorted, get back to your yoga practice. Now, this is key. Don't do asymmetrical postures. I know it's hard. We all love doing asymmetrical postures, but don't do it. Don't. Whatever you do, don't do it. Stick with symmetrical postures. Stick with postures ideally where you're lying on your back. So things like the bridge where you're coming up and down. Try do a little bit of abdominal work to try and strengthen the abdomen. I am going to throw in one caveat with regards to don't do asymmetrical postures. You can do asymmetrical postures if it's in with the somatic work, where it is very slow, very mindful, and you're using your breath to do the work. So somatic work, I'd say, okay, you can do the asymmetrical work there, but make sure that you always take a break in between. I'm saying don't do any strong asymmetrical classic yoga postures like your Jatara Parivriti, like your Ardha Matsyendrasana, like your warrior number one, like your side angle pose, your standing poses, things like that. Try and stay away from the triangles, anything where your body has to be too asymmetrical. Just for a while. I'm not saying cut them out of your practice completely, but just until you find that your sacrum is stable and comfortable and that you've built a little bit more structure and support around it. And then start bringing in your asymmetrical postures in again. So that is my tip for you for today. If you or one of your students or someone you know has sacroiliac issues, problems, challenges, please share this video with them, because I know this constructive rest posture is really going to help. It literally transformed my yoga practice. So I want that for as many of you out there who do struggle with this, that you're able to do that. And please do check out Donna Farhi Constructive Rest. You'll find plenty of videos on exactly how to do that. But it really is as simple as lying on your back, knees bent, feet on the mat, keeping them parallel and staying there for 10 to 15 minutes. And if you feel that your back's uncomfortable, just see, do you need to raise your buttocks a little and put a blanket under there? Does that elevate it? Do you need to lift your chest a little and your head a little so that your back feels more comfortable? You make sure that you get 100% comfortable so that you can really relax into the sacrum. That's my tip for you today. Hope it works, and let me know in the comments below if this is a practice that you regularly do, or if there is something else that works better for you. Have a great day.